So first of all, thank you all for attending. This is the inaugural 2023 version of the Team Unstoppable Mastermind Call. We do these every 2 months with folks that I am working with, my JV partners, who we together are trying to do more deals around the world, but particularly right now in specific markets, Tulsa being one of them. And if you're here on the call, it's because either you're in Team Unstoppable or I've invited you to talk to Team Unstoppable, or we're making this open to the public so that folks can get a sense for what this is and why this helps. At least it helps me. So we're going to talk today. We're going to do some quick housekeeping and acknowledgement of successes. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm seeing going on in the market right now and why, and I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but why now is the perfect time for people to be taking positive steps towards doing more deals. I didn't really talk about I never talk about my background here. This quote is actually, I think I may have made this up, but I'm not dangerous because I never lose, because I have lost many times. I'm dangerous because I'll never stop. And that is my motto. I don't always win, but I never stop, and so I never lose. I never lose in the true sense. So we'll talk a little about successes, and then I'm going to welcome my special guests, Cassie, Kramer, and Brian Godfrey, and we're going to talk accounting and bookkeeping, how to keep folks out of trouble. I recommend that you start accumulating your questions now in your head or on paper so that we can cover them. We're going to have this discussion of bookkeeping and accounting tips for real estate investors who don't look great in an orange jumpsuit. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started talking about the housekeeping. What's going on? Last year, we collectively, the joint venture partners that I have, we did about $1.16 million in real estate bought and sold in Tulsa. Many of those partners did other deals that didn't involve me. So this is not the total volume of all of us. It's just what we did together. And I'm proud of that, but I know for a fact that we could easily 10x that without breaking a sweat. And for a variety of reasons, we're going to be looking at opportunities for doing that. Folks, evictions are on the rise. I'm just about finished trying to pull the December data, the second half of December data from Tulsa. And already I can see, I'll tell you that December 2021, there were about 830 some odd evictions filed already, and I haven't finished. I'm through December 30th, so I haven't finished the year yet, and we're already at like 1,100 for the month of December 2022. So we're looking at, from year over year, a significant increase. I'm seeing evictions soaring, and and I'm hearing that it's the case all over the U.S. because folks are getting into trouble. I'm seeing landlords are throwing their hands up because their tenants aren't paying them. And that's a specific and direct opportunity for those of us who are doing tired landlord strategy, because those are the people that we want to talk to. I'm seeing foreclosures increasing because people are getting behind in their mortgage and banks are taking foreclosure action. So in fast foreclosed states like Georgia, Texas, and Oklahoma, I'm seeing the number of people getting into trouble and the number of houses being auctioned as dramatically increasing. And for those of you who were around in 2007 and 8 and actively investing, while I won't say this is exactly like that, I'll say that I've seen this movie before, and it doesn't end well for a lot of people. But it is an opportunity for us as investors. The Federal Reserve is going to continue to raise rates. They've already said at least the first quarter of this year, they're going to be raising it again, and they may raise it several other times. The more they raise, the more expensive things become for people. Loans cost more, insurance costs more, and people get into trouble. And that brings us to the reality that there are deals out there. And I'm strongly encouraging those of you who are, for example, working in Tulsa to use each other's team members. And I'll give an example of that. And then if you're talking to a seller and you can't seem to get traction, you can't connect with them, they don't seem to be responding to you well, you've identified who they are, you've identified there's a need, but you just can't get them to talk to you, they won't warm up to you. If that door shuts in your face, then the smart thing to do is to find someone in the group who perhaps is a different perspective, a different voice, a different way of approaching those folks, and say to that person, hey, I've already gotten the contact information. If you reach out to this person and can get this agreement signed, let's split this deal, because the seller needs to sell. You may not be the person that they can talk to. So don't let a perfectly good lead go to waste just because you can't get the seller to talk to you. Find somebody who can. Jason, for example, Jason Russian is really good, I've said this before, at bonding with sellers. I believe that sometimes the seller won't talk to a guy, they need to talk to a woman. So Megan Poppenhouse is actively looking at deals. Rebecca Kyle is looking at deals. Get whatever you need. I don't care what the seller needs. If they need to talk to somebody and there's somebody in the group that can connect with them, then find that person and get that deal done. Don't not do a deal because you can't connect. It's not about you. It's about them. And I'll just remind you that when times get tough, that's when investors are needed more than ever. When landlords aren't getting paid and people are about to lose their houses, it's investors like us who swoop in and save the day. We get those non-paying tenants out, and maybe with some money in their pocket, we get that landlord to convert that non-performing house into an asset by selling it to us, and we get to take a deal and perhaps make a wholesale fee on it. So everybody wins in a scenario like that, but we're the only ones buying in this market. Not only ones, but we're one of the few people buying in this market. Everybody else is sitting on the sidelines looking at rates go up. So this is the time for us as investors to get out there and get active. Am I happy that people are getting evicted and foreclosed? No, but I didn't create it. The economy is what it is, and I can certainly help those folks. I can usher them through that process. So with that being said, let us talk about the topic of today, which is bookkeeping and accounting. I'd like to welcome our special guest experts. I will put them on screen in a second, but I want to do their bios first. First up is Cassie Kramer. She's with Ascend Bookkeeping. Her team has a combined 20 years of experience in the accounting field. She likes to say that they get nerdy about financial blueprints, cash flow management, and making sure businesses are actually turning a profit, which is what you want in a bookkeeper. And her specialties are bookkeeping and advisory services for real estate professionals, which is us, which is everybody on this call. Along with Cassie, we've got Brian Godfrey, who's with Capital View Accounting. He's a CPA specializing in real estate taxation. CPA stands for Certified Public Accountant. He spent the early years of his career working for multinational CPA firms such as Deloitte and BDO. He lives in Ogden, Utah with his wife and 3 kids. And Cassie and Brian work together. They work as a team to serve their clients' needs, and they work with real estate folks like us. So welcome, Cassie. Welcome, Brian. Let me bring you on screen. So Brian, Cassie, welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you. Hey.
Thanks for having us, Mitch.
No, my pleasure. Yeah. Now, I said this to you before we started, and I'll say it again now. This is the topic, accounting and bookkeeping, that real estate investors love to hate, but they really should love to love, because this is how you know you're making money. This is how you make more money. Watching your financials. And again, most of the people on this call know my story. I did not do well with my financials early on in my career, and I got crushed because of it. Accounting and bookkeeping have a special place in my heart because I didn't do those well. And I know what happens when you don't do them. And so I want to encourage everybody on this call to start thinking about how you put systems together to get your bookkeeping and accounting needs met. And so here's how I'd like to proceed. I've got some questions that I want to kick things off with. I'm going to ask the folks on the call, if you have questions that are related to the ones I'm asking, you feel free to jump in. But after I've asked my 4 or 5, we're going to open it up for general questions, and then we're going to just take this where it goes. And again, I want to try to be respectful of everyone's time and try to keep this around an hour. So I want to start with the basics. I don't want to make any assumptions about anything. So Cassie and Brian, I'm going to ask you both, what is bookkeeping? What does it mean to keep books? And how does it differ from accounting?
Oh, that's a good question. I have a lot of folks who will turn to me and say, well, do you do taxes as well? Or are you a CPA, a tax professional? And honestly, the answer is no. I'm not nerdy about taxes at all. So one thing that it's been kind of explained to us, or explained to us in a way to kind of help explain it to others, is think about us as the nurses and the tax professionals as kind of like doctors. especially if you're in a hospital setting. You see your nurse a whole lot more often than what you do your doctor. Your doctor's there, they oversee their section there. But if you really want the nitty gritty day to day, okay, we're going to get stuff done, it's your nurse. And that's the exact same thing that happens in the accounting world. Not to discount anything Brian does. I feel like I should say that. But everyone has kind of their certain places where they get really nerdy. So in the accounting world, it's your bookkeeper that you're going to see month in, month out, a couple times a month, even have those conversations just to kind of see what's going on. And we're the ones that kind of check the gauge of your financial health along the lines with you. So we'll go through and help kind of bring order into financials, take a look at everything. And depending upon who your bookkeeper is they might even go down as far deep as far as like budgeting, even within your business or whatever it is you're doing there, even potentially up through forecasting, depending upon skill sets that are there. And of course, Brian and tax professionals have a very different part where they'll play their role in their specific places. And I'll let Brian kind of expand on that. But bookkeeping really is just kind of getting all of those numbers, all of those parts there, bringing order and clarity into it. So that's not just clarity for your tax professional or if you're audited for the IRS to have to see, but it's clarity for you as well. So you can make those next financial decisions with as much information as possible. So then you can feel good and confident about what you're doing.
Awesome. I love that metaphor, the doctor nurse metaphor. Cool. So Brian, in that metaphor, you're the doctor, you're responsible for the overarching plan. Tell me how accounting works. What is it? Why do I need it? Why would I care about accounting?
Yeah, I think, what a bookkeeper does, there's so many facets to the value that a good bookkeeper in accounting does. And a lot of those, there's a lot of dirty secrets that CPAs aren't really telling you. There's a little bit of at odds where CPAs, when tax time hits, they're serving hundreds and hundreds of clients. And most CPAs, I mean, it's really in our code of ethics, should be having you sign engagement letters. And oftentimes, if you read those closely, they basically will say, we will prepare your return based on the information you provide, and we will not audit you. And so that's a really, I don't know if it's a fancy way, but it's a way to basically say, like, brush our hands. What you send us is what we're going to file. And so at the same time, if you don't have a CPA that's working with a good bookkeeper and a good relationship, bookkeepers on the other hand are saying, hey, we don't understand the full tax code. We're going to give an accounting, but there's really a gap there if you don't have the right team of not having your best interest at heart due to the nature of just getting busy and kind of putting their hands up in the air and not maximizing your bookkeeping. So the thing with a quality tax return is built on quality accounting. And so especially with real estate, there's so many good reasons. A good accounting, you'll have a solid balance sheet, which will help finance future deals and will help you get loans. It'll track the interest and expense and just make sure you're writing off the right thing. Cassie and her team are awesome at that. But I would always recommend, as you look at your bookkeeping, to make sure the properties you're buying are being capitalized correctly. And that's one thing that your CPA will be doing should be doing is reviewing your closing documents in conjunction with your bookkeeper to maximize the value of what's capitalized.
Legitimate and not going to create all these fake accounts and then start, funneling money out of my account into their account and robbing me blind.
Honestly, I've had that question almost every single individual I talk to, because let's be honest, it's a hard-earned income. We want to keep as much of it as we possibly can, no matter what. We don't want you to undo what it is we do, or we've got processes, but never should it be you're not allowed to have access to your books. Those are yours.
Don't forget to click the notification bell so you will get updated when the part 2 is uploaded. Hit like and subscribe for more topics like this in Real Estate Skillset Training channel. Thank you for watching.